Now, let's see. Where were we?
You know, I was beginning to wonder that myself. It seemed like things were really picking up steam for a minute there. Then you suddenly pivoted to a bunch of background information. Then you got really quiet for like a really long time.
Quiet you. When we last left our heroes, they were negotiating with the Eyes of Erdenine, where they received several pieces of information about some of the guests at the upcoming Prailme Ball. In exchange, they agreed to smuggle the Ratman Jimmy Gnawbones into the ball, so he could gather some information of his own. After concluding their business, the parties struggled to navigate their way out of the sewers and suddenly found themselves caught up in a tidal wave of wastewater that both drenched them and infected Faunalyn with sewer plague. They eventually made their way back up to the surface, and Clay and Glimki left Faunalyn to rest. They took turns getting fitted by the tailor Madame Fauvemont, and while this was happening, Glimki slipped out and returned to Fuzam Biston's medical clinic. While there, Glimki was able to acquire medicine for Faunalyn, as well as several doses of the narcotic Blackleaf. The medicine was applied, and Faunalyn soon began to feel better. Crisis averted, the party spent the remainder of the next 2 days getting prepared for the ball. Measurements were taken, outfits were made, baths were taken, thank goodness, and eventually they were at last ready to attend the Prailme Ball. The party climbed aboard a carriage piloted by the gnomish driver Carlston Faddlefiddle, who took them deep into the wooded Prailme estate. Upon their arrival, Clay and Glimki were escorted to the servants' wing, where they got introduced to the other servants of the nobility by a gnome named Cilantro. Meanwhile, Faunalyn began to navigate the perils of high society. She received a dance card from Lady Bakra Prailme and was introduced to the age-obsessed Count Telendir Vrump. More guests began to arrive, and Faunalyn attempted to strike up a conversation with Prince Elling Balfirth, but suddenly found herself interrupted by a man she seemed to recognize and possibly fear. The nobleman, Lord Hamlet Pilton.
You already said all that.
Yes, Claude, but you were just complaining that we'd lost the thread. Let's continue. Come gather round, travelers, and sit on the stoop. We'll tell you a story about Bard Soup. 3 lovable scamps in our traveling troupe. We'll tell you a story about Bard Soup. Hey kids, and welcome back to Bard Soup High. I hope you had a good summer, and I hope you're ready to do some good old-fashioned learning. I'm your teacher / dungeon master, Zach Meikle, and of course, I've got my 3 favorite students here. Prima, Zhao, who are you, and what did you do during summer vacation?
My name's Prima, I play Clay Campbell, and over my summer vacation, I went to Iceland.
Fantastic. Now, Jordan, I see you chewing gum in the corner, and unless you got enough to share, you're going to have to spit that out in my hand, young man.
No more homework.
Oh, you keep that up, you're going to get extra homework, young man.
Darn.
Now, who are you, and what did you do over your summer break?
I'm Jordan. I play Glimki Treefellow, and what did I do during the summer break? I rode a bike with no handlebars.
Oh, sheesh.
Look, Ma, no hands.
And now, young woman in the corner, I see you texting on that phone, and I'm going to eat it if you don't start shaping up. You're not going to get into a good college if you're always on that damn phone. Shannon, who are you? And get me out of this bit.
Hi, I'm Shannon, and I play Faunalyn Vaydark. And I heard that if teachers threaten to take kids' phones, that the kids will threaten to sue them for like property stealing, I guess.
Ugh,
And then the
Okay.
teachers can't take their phones because you can't take people's property.
gotta bring back the strap.
I think we should bring back rulers,
Yeah.
but the punishing kind. That's a joke. I think kids should be allowed to be on their phones, actually.
And that's it. We're back. It's bar soup, baby. We're back from summer vacation. We're fresh. We're hot. It's 30 degrees Celsius, and I don't have AC. I am a pool, a puddle, a little sweat boy. And that's okay. Let's dive in. We rejoin our hero, singular, in the ballroom of Prailme Manor, where one Faunalyn Vaydark has begun the evening's festivities, and after crossing the ballroom to interact with, greet, inquire, probe, mentally, Prince Elling Malfirth, you found yourself interrupted by this middle-aged man with kind of a messed up face, not in like it's been melted off, but it's just like, it looks mean. He's got a mean face. And he's got just this powdery wig on, and you, of course, recognize him as Lord Hamlet Pilton. He is a individual you are familiar with, even if our audience is not, and he holds a goblet or a wine glass, one in each hand, and he extends one of them to you and says, "It's been too long, Lady Vaydark."
Lord Pilton, what a delightful surprise to see you here. I had no idea that you were in town.
Ah, yes, I've been here for a few weeks at least.
Well, you should have sought me out sooner.
Ah, everything in due course, of course. It seems like fate has brought us together. Or perhaps the Prailmes.
Ah, how droll. Well, it is so delightful to see you. And if you'll excuse me, I actually must away to powder my nose because I just caught a glimpse of myself in that glass and I'm humiliatingly shiny. And we have enough humiliation at this party. Lord Xerxes. Oh, thank you.
He is like halfway across the ballroom. Xerxes is in his own little conversation, like turns his head and says, "Yeah."
I do that thing where I'm like, ah, ha, 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 and I turn and there's no one there. And I go, anyway, and I flounce off without another word or glance.
Okay, you do not accept his offering.
Nope. I'm going to hail a nearby servant, and I'm going to say, fetch me my lady's maid immediately. Thank you. And I'm going to flounce over to, I'm looking at the party guests. I'm playing a hunch, and I'm going to go talk to Lord Ulran Rothbard.
Okay. As you are crossing the floor, Elling Malfirth looks a tad confused as you walk away. You had just begun a conversation with him, and then it was crashed by Lord Pilton, and you just kind of pull the emergency eject lever and immediately bail from the conversation. He's like, "We'll talk later then." And as you are crossing the floor, a servant with a tray approaches you and says, "Spiced quail egg, ma'am."
Okay. I'll try a quail. I pop a quail egg on my way over to Rothbard.
That's pretty good.
Oh my god. You with the eggs. Where is the ceviche?
The ceviche will be served with the dinner course, ma'am.
Of course, that's so amateurish. Yes, of course. Obviously, it's going to be an appetizer. That's stupid. Stupid, Faunalyn. Get your shit together. I'm going to approach Lord Rothbard.
What color does your dress become in this moment?
The putrid salmon of humiliation, and
very
not the
good.
house.
Nice. So, you pop a quail egg, cross the floor, and approach Ulran Rothbard and Lady Isle Crawin. You previously met them at a ball at Humiliation House. If you recall, which I know you do, Ulran is this young half-elf man with kind of messy brown hair, and unlike many half-elves, he's a little thicker, a little stockier, a little more built up. He's pretty big for a half-elf. And Lady Crawin is a young human woman. She's got blonde hair and a full tan, just very tan, like almost like so tan that you're like, that can't be healthy. Like that maybe it's fine now, but in 20 years, that's gonna be a problem. He is wearing this tight-fitting black doublet with a frilly white ruff, like the old-timey collar around his neck. And she is wearing this deep purple gown with matching eyeshadow and a wig that's embroidered with these purple flowers. And you approach. Give me an insight check as you do so.
How exciting. That is a 15.
You walk up, and as you're approaching, you take one look at them, and they are so clearly flirting with each other. Like, he says something, and she laughs and puts her arm on his, like her hand on his arm, and they are like very clearly in their own little world. And then you enter it.
Faunalyn sees that, clocks it, and like commands her body to turn around and abort because that's not something she wants to walk into, but she's like the momentum's carrying her forward. So she like against her will hustles up to them. Well. If it isn't Lady Crowin and Lord Rothbart, I've heard such silly and charming things about the pair of you from our mutual friends Bip Bap and Xerxes.
There is a uncomfortable silence as they turn to face you. You see two things. Lord Rothbard turns to look at you, and you see that he is wearing, it appears to be makeup, specifically concealer, but you see that it has not been applied very well, and there is a heavy bruise around one of his eyes. Lady Crawwin looks at you, and if looks could kill, you would have failed to escape the second attempt on your life, being the look she is throwing at you. That was clunky, but we'll stick with it.
I liked it.
She looks at you, and she is unhappy that you are here. She is clearly, visibly irritated. And he says,
Lady Faunalyn, how good to see you again.
Again? I'm sorry, I don't recall. I recall. I'm nagging him. I can't say recall our meeting. Well, let's make more of an impression on each other this time. And Lady Crowin, I've heard such interesting things about you, and I know you've heard such interesting things about me. I thought, let's put the chit-chat to rest and just get to know each other one-on-one. You know, there's so many rumors flying about, and it can be so irritating. Much simpler and more entertaining to get to know each other.
quite right. It's perhaps a good opportunity to clear the air. But I'm afraid I must take some air, and besides, three's a crowd. And she walks off towards the main door. As she does, Rothbard's like,
well, I'll see you later then.
And the door remember there's these stairs that lead up out of the mansion. The door swings open, and the Aarakocra butler says, "Now presenting Lady Electra Voon of Sunfall and Sir Clotier Keldar."
Together?
And you watch as Electra Voon, wearing a fancy version of her standard red gown, enters the room. If you recall, she's got dark skin and these mismatched eyes and a powdered wig that rivals your own. And like a step behind her is the Dragonborn Knight, Clotier Keldar, who has this simple but fine quality black tunic with this black tri-corner hat complete with a white peacock feather sticking out of it.
Ooh, like Will in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Like Will in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Nice. I hate that hat.
She looks around, and you see that she looks confident. She's got like a small smile on her face. And as she is scanning the room, for a brief second, the look on her face sours. Would you make I'll call it another insight roll?
Oh, that's a 25.
The second she locks eyes on Prince Elling Malfirth, her demeanor immediately shifts. There is clearly anger in her eyes that goes deep. If Isle Crawwin was trying to kill you with her look, Electra Voon would blow up this entire mansion.
Oh my god.
Got those laser beam eyes.
But as soon as the expression crosses her face, it immediately passes. She continues her scan of the room and proceeds down the stairs, and Clotier Keldar very stiffly walking behind her, and they enter the fray. Ulrin turns to you and says,
Now, you must remember me, of course, because we met at the House Humiliation Ball, and we were in that group circle with Xerxes and Bip and Bap and Lady Crawwin, of course, and you remember me, right?
Well, do you know what happened that night?
No.
Or the next night? Well, there was an attempt on my life at the Drifting Terraces. So, I'm sorry, the preceding days are a bit foggy to me.
You might have a concussion.
Might have had, or perhaps the party was not as fun for me as it was for you.
Well, I had a very nice time.
Yes, I suppose that might have been due to the presence of Lady Crowan. I had heard that you two were involved, and actually I hadn't heard that you were involved. I had heard that Lady Crowan was so enamored by you that it made her look stupid, and it's nice to know that not all rumors are false.
Huh?
Oh, the way she looks at you is just so charming. I can't wait to feel that way again, you know?
Yes. We are just friends.
Yes,
but...
of course. Oh, I'm sorry. I hope you didn't think I was implying anything else. The purest love of good friendship between two single eligible bachelors and bachelors.
Smash cut to the servants' lounge. Clay and Glimki, you had just finished your conversation with the gnome stylist Cilantro, who was kind of giving you the rundown of everybody in the room. Mm-hmm. And as you are preparing to start mingling, start talking to people, I guess I want to know, first off, are you two sticking together, splitting up, divide and conquer, or what?
Clay, what do you think? Think we'll cover more ground if we split up?
Yeah. I guess we could try talking to different people.
Okay, who do you got on your list? I guess we should probably focus on... Well, I don't know. Maybe that's a
The
mystery.
Pralmy servants, we could probably talk to them.
All right, which one do you want? Do you want the human gardener or the halfling?
I guess you should take the gardener.
Oh, yes, because we have so much to cover. Okay, yeah, let's do that.
So, Glimki, you are approaching Xander
Lorne.
He is a human man. He seems to be in his early 20s, and he, of course, was identified to you as a gardener. You get the sense that he is off duty, given the fact that A, it's nighttime, B, there's a party going on, and gardeners aren't typically needed to help out with parties.
So he's just hanging out?
Yep. Clay, you go and approach Benin Whalefruit, who is a female halfling in her 30s, and she's wearing a floral romper.
Cute.
Yeah, it's very, very bright and summery. And we will start with Glimki. You approach the gardener, who is just standing there. He's chatting with the little goblin, Galt.
Oh, he's with Galt, eh? Okay. Galt from Count Vrump? What the hell?
Mm-hmm.
Goblin, okay. Yeah, Glimki's gonna saunter over, and he's gonna give Xander, he's gonna walk adjacent to the duo until I can get into his eye line, and then I'm gonna give him one of these, I recognize him, until he notices me and makes eye contact. And it'd be Xander Lorne, right?
Yes, I'm sorry, sir, but I'm afraid I don't quite have your name.
Oh no, don't worry. I'm Glimki Treefellow. I've heard a lot of good things. I actually been chatting up some of these other servants with a little bit of a problem. They've all been pointing me in your direction. Gardener, right?
Gardener?
Yes.
Ah.
Okay, thank goodness. Sorry, Galt. I don't mean to interrupt, but this is a very pressing matter.
Hey, he's quite all right.
So people have been telling me you're the expert around these parts. You have any experience with azaleas?
The most difficult of all fruits, or perhaps flowers.
That's what I'm saying.
Are you having difficulties with yours?
Yes. I'm recently under the employ of a Miss Faunalyn Vaydark, and I've essentially adopted some plants and garden. You know the shtick, but I'm trying to pick up the pieces of a puzzle that I have no image or reference to. So I'm trying to just piece this together, and having a little bit of trouble with these.
Walk me through it.
I'm giving them too much sun. Am I giving them too much shade? Water? Or should I fertilize? Give me a little bit.
Well, you see, you need to strike a delicate balance of shade and sun and rain and drought. But can I tell you? I had some issues with the azaleas of my own a couple of years back, and it turns out our dear master of horse, and he gestures over at Benin, she was letting the horses out near the azalea bushes and they were eating them. It turns out horses have quite the affinity for azaleas.
Huh. Well, that's quite a predicament. I guess one that I'm happy to avoid. I don't have any large animals eating them, but they still seem to be struggling.
Are you sure?
Well, yeah, now that you mention it, it's a pretty short fence because they're not a tall family, so I guess I could imagine some kind of animal jumping over, but it doesn't look like it. How long have you been under the employ of House Trailme? You've obviously had a long career in gardening.
About 3 years now.
30 years?
Oh, three.
Oh,
How old do you think I am?
Oh, gee,
I'm only 24.
Okay, sorry. It's really hard to tell.
I know. I'm old for my years.
I think maybe it's just, the old soul. I think we have that in common, you and I.
Yes.
I'm 84.
Ah, wow. Yikes.
Yeah, not a day over 70, they tell me.
Well, your words, not mine.
Okay, you can just give it to me. Damn. I say 3 years. 3 years. Wow. Okay. How's that been?
It's been good. I get paid well, and no complaints there. I haven't quite earned a promotion yet. Haven't gone to go to the Southlands, but one day I'm sure.
Oh, well, here's hoping for the best for you.
Thank you.
I'm new to this whole scene. I'm trying to get a sense for which houses are the best or what to aspire to when choosing to work under someone's employ. Do forgive me for being blunt, but have you heard anything about the Vaydarks or...
Excuse me? Are you getting hot goss about me so that you can social climb? Oh, you're fired. You're done.
I'm afraid I don't know much about your employer. We aren't permitted to leave the ground, so our interactions with the outside world are limited at best, you see. Only Tick is allowed to venture back into the city proper for supplies and what have, and I suppose the carriage drivers, but that is all.
You must have crossed paths at parties or get-togethers of these kind, servants talk. I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, their last servant died?
You don't say. That's, wow. Well, no one ever dies here at House Trailme. Either you get fired or you get promoted, and either way, we don't see you again, but you don't die, so that's something.
That is something. You've lasted there quite a long time. You see people come and go.
If someone's too good at their job, they get sent to the Jeweled Lake, and if they are no good at their job, they get sent packing.
So you're skirting right under the line here.
You never do more than ask of me and never do less, and it's been working out these last 3 years pretty good. I thought it was a close thing with the azaleas, but they're... I think it's all right now. We're in a nice holding pattern.
Well, I guess I got to figure out my azalea problem, or
Hey, do they do that like that in the main city?
I don't know.
Well, stay safe, friend.
Yes. One more thing. I mean, I'm trying to get to know people. You obviously know a few of the people here. Any other people who are good chatterboxes, like to mingle, make new friends?
What I find is the carriage drivers, they tend to keep to themselves, and they can talk. They hear things, They often they're driving the carriages for the nobles, and they talk, the nobles. They think their carriages are safe, but there's always a set of ears listening. So they usually, during these sorts of things, they gamble out in the parkade. So that might be a spot for you to check out if you're looking for something a little more riveting than what this old 24 bag of bones has to offer.
Oh, you're young at heart. I can tell. Okay,
very old.
Okay, well, Xander, thanks for the advice there. I'll keep pushing through with the azaleas here. Yeah, all the best to you. Hopefully, one day you'll get sent off to the the southern?
Hey, the Prima lands to the south, the Jeweled Lake.
Well, could be a nice trip down there. All the best to you.
Thank you. And also you.
We will cut over to Clay, who's approached Benin Whalefruit. She's this halfling woman, as I mentioned. She's kind of keeping to herself, just in the corner, not talking to anybody at the moment. As you are approaching, the door into this room opens up, and you see a small kobold, which is a type of dragon person. They're what halfling is to human, kobold is to dragonborn. They're just small dragon folk. They're not common. I don't know if you've really seen one before, maybe a handful in your entire life. At first glance, you see she is blue, and then you kind of squint and you notice that it seems like her scales have been painted blue, and there's like a bit of red underneath. That seems to be like the base color, but for whatever reason, she has painted her scales blue. And she quietly slinks into the room, moving very quickly, and goes off by herself to, there's like a little snack table, and grabs some meats and starts chomping down on them. And you clock that and then continue on, and you approach Benin Wilford. What do you do?
One question about the kobold first. Do dragonborn and kobolds, like coloring, follow the same rule as like dragons? Whereas like the colored ones are evil, kind of?
Less so. I'd say less so. I'd say there is a little more individuality at play.
Okay. Well, I guess Clay's got her eyes out on the dragon person.
Sure. I will say that kobolds often default into a similar role as goblins do, where they often work in service of a more powerful being, often a dragon. They're known for being intelligent and for being tricky to fight. They can often be very tricky and set up some very intricate lairs. They're not known for being brave. They're often known for being cowardly and submitting to a more powerful figure. But yeah, you keep your eye on her as you cross the room, and she seems to be keeping to herself for the time being.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm approaching Benin first.
Okay.
I guess I just go up to her, like, hi. So you work for the host, is that right?
Hi, you've been told well. Benin Whalefruit at your service. And who might you be?
Nice to meet you. I'm Flora Fauna. I'm a new servant for Lady Faunalyn Vaydark, who's staying with the Bertolds.
How nice. Are you enjoying your time?
It's my first time at one of these, balls, big fancy parties. I was just wondering, do the Pralmies hold a lot of events like this? Have you been to a lot of events like this?
They host their fair share, I suppose. It's not anything out of the order for those of their stature. This is relatively small, I'd say, by their standards. Seems like most folks aren't in the mood for celebrating. I've heard the princess is missing, which is mighty sad news, but
it's crazy.
Yeah, it is. We live in crazy times.
I guess life kind of just seems like it goes on, even though such a big thing has happened.
Aye. And she raises her glass and then takes a sip.
Yeah. You heard anything about, what might have happened? Like how crazy is it that the princess got kidnapped?
Aye, that's crazy. You want to live in a world where princesses get kidnapped? Well, you got your wish, and what a terrible wish that would be. Yet that is what we find ourselves dealing with on this day, I suppose. I heard she ran away from home, but I don't know. Why would a princess leave such a nice home as a castle?
Wasn't she... Actually, I don't know. I'm not used to mingling with all these rich types. How long have you been working for this house?
Oh, about 2 years now.
2 years? Yeah. How's that been? Is it a dangerous job? Because, the last servant that worked for the Bertolds, I think she was murdered.
Oh, murder. That's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd say it's safe here. Nobody ever leaves Pralmy Manor by means of a hearse. But you got to keep your wits about you. And as she's saying this, you can sense she's kind of maybe closing off a bit. If you would like to roll an insight check.
Yeah, I'd like to roll an insight check. 21.
Sheesh. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a very good roll. I will say with a 21, you are very aware that some things are coming to mind.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that she starts sort of fiddling with the end of her romper, playing with the fabric, and she clearly is agitated.
Didn't mean to bring up some kind of gruesome topics at this party.
No, it's nothing gruesome. It's just, the owlbears are dangerous, and
Oh,
can you keep a secret?
yes, of course.
Well, they, not often mind, but on events like days like today, they often send one or two of the horses out into the woods for the bears to feast on, which is, I understand you want to ensure they don't come to the mansion looking for all those yummy victuals that they're eating down there in the dining hall, biting on any of the guests, but you grow attached, you know. You spend a lot of time training the horses and making sure that they're well behaved, and then you have to let them go, and you don't really get any say in the matter, and that's tough. And then,
Damn.
well, and this is nothing. This is nothing. There's a maze to the rear of the mansion, and I think it's haunted.
Oh,
There's a tower, and the other night I was walking home from the stable, or back to my room here in the mansion from the stable, and I looked up and I saw a shape. It looked like a person, just looking down at me, and could have sworn their eyes were burning, but it was probably nothing. Probably just too much work and not enough nights like tonight.
no, I understand. That must be really hard to lose your horses like that. How often do they have to send horses off for the owlbears? Why do they even keep owlbears?
I think it's well, I mean, there's the thematics of it, of course. Their symbol being the owl bear, and then on top of that, I think it might be one of those dominion over nature type beats where they exert their power and thus show power to the world by domesticating and taming such a fearsome creature as the owl bear. And as she's about to start waxing philosophical, a servant approaches and she quickly quiets down, just buttons up, and you notice the servant is in a very proper uniform. It's like this black and white, not quite a tuxedo, but you know the vibe, right? Just very proper, crisp servant's uniform. And the servant taps you on the shoulder and says, "Excuse me, ma'am. I've been sent to tell you that the Lady Faunalyn Vaydark requests your assistance in the powder room."
Oh, of course. Yeah, I guess lead the way.
Of course. And Benin says, "Hey, well, it's a pleasure making your acquaintance, Mum, and I don't know why I'm calling you Mum. We're both servants after all, but I hope to see you again before the night is through, and all the best to you."
Thanks, yes. I hope we get to talk again later.
Aye, for sure. And you are led out of the servants' lounge, back through this winding network of hallways and staircases towards the ballroom. And as you are making this journey through the mansion, we will cut back to Faunalyn, who is talking with Ulrin Rothbard, of course, and he's still going, and then you feel a slight tap on your shoulder as one Electra Voon has approached you and says, "Ah, you made it after all. How nice."
Lady Voon, in a moment. Now, Lord Rothbard.
Okay, no. Give me I don't know, an intimidation check.
That's a 2. But I add some kind of number. That's a 7. Ooh.
I see you are occupied. Perhaps we will talk later, but perhaps not. And she walks away. As she does, Tick the Aarakocra, as I maybe haven't clearly stated, but his name is Tick, and I'm tired of dancing around it because I like the name.
That's cute.
Right? Thank you. Tick the Aarakocra says, "Now presenting Lady Larasta Guimanche and her companion, Count Bozic." And as Voon is walking away, you hear her very quietly, to herself, perhaps, maybe you were meant to hear it, she says, "May we
restaurant, a bugbear have arrived. How nice. And you look up the stairs and you see Lady Larasta Gamanche, who is this... I forgot she was a halfling. She is a halfling woman in her 20s. She's got plain features and brown hair. And towering next to her is a man. And you are very certain he is not a bugbear. I don't know if you've ever seen a bugbear, but he's not. What he is a shockingly hairy human man.
Oh.
Just thick eyebrows and this bushy beard, and he is just a tangle of hair. And you see that she is, Larasta that is wearing this yellow and gray dress with poofy shoulders and a matching silk burlette. And Count Bozic is wearing these navy robes, complete with a gray stole over his shoulders. And they are walking down the stairs hand in hand.
Okay, well that's lovely. Lord Rothbard. Lord Rothbard.
Yes.
You were just telling me how you got that bruise under your eye. So many interruptions.
So many interruptions, yes. I'm afraid I don't think I was, though.
Oh, that's right. We were talking about something else. Anyway, I'm very curious about the bruise under your eye. Why don't you tell me the story?
Give me a persuasion check.
That's a 12.
He waves his hand in the air and says,
Oh, it's nothing. I merely slipped getting out of the bathtub. Should have dried my feet better.
Well, it's hard because you can't dry them while you're in the bathtub.
Well, that's quite right.
Yes. Okay. Well, what do you think of the princess's disappearance?
He becomes more serious. He stops going, ha ha ha, and goes,
My.
Yes.
terrible news. And one can't help but think,
What are we doing here?
perhaps we ought to be out in the wilds or in the streets of the Copper District finding whoever has taken the dear princess. She is a fine, not quite regent, but whatever, someone who will one day be the regent is. She is that. Yes.
An heir?
My dear, air is something you breathe. And you look past his shoulder and you see Clay standing by. There's like this wall this door that's painted like the exact color of the walls. Very hard to see. It blends in, and Clay is just standing next to that, kind of just waving at you. They have been brought into the chamber.
Okay, I nod at Clay to acknowledge that I've seen them, and I say to Lord Rothbard, if you were to go looking for the princess right now, on the streets or wherever, where would you look?
Well, I would probably search every nook and cranny of the Copper District. Perhaps the rabble have taken her for some nefarious purpose.
Just like as a collective, like every poor person in the city?
Who knows what they get up to?
That's so true. I don't know, because I've never been poor.
Neither have I.
I want to insight check his demeanor when I'm asking where he thinks the princess would go.
Go for it.
19.
He doesn't seem to have any strong, like you get the sense that he is interested in the princess's disappearance because it is the talk of the town, because it is a major political event that has happened. He doesn't seem overly interested. It seems like it is similar to talking about a war that's far off on another part of the world, where it's like, that's a wild thing that's happening, but it doesn't really impact my life that much. You get that sort of idea from him, but the way he's talking about the Copper District, you get the feeling that he is talking about it as if he doesn't really know what it is, if it is this concept rather than a physical, actual space. And something about his demeanor regarding the Copper District tells you or implies to you that he's being intentionally obtuse.
Lord Rothbard, surely someone as experienced as yourself has been down to the Copper District for a drink, a bit of revelry. I heard from a rather reliable source, our mutual friend, in fact, that your group is always down for a good time. And the Copper District certainly has its share of times, good and bad.
I assure you, Lady Vaydark, I do not dirty my boots in the mud-filled streets of the Copper District.
Really, not even once? You've never been to the Copper District?
Never.
Okay, well,
Would you like to make an insight roll?
I feel like I know he's lying, but yeah, I'll make an insight roll. Like, I feel like I don't even... that's another 19.
Yeah.
What do you mean, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Yeah. He definitely lying. I mean, yeah, meaning you've got it. Like, you're right.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Okay, a dance then. Would you care to share one later on?
Give me a persuasion roll.
Persuasion's the opportunity of a lifetime. That's a raw 18. Okay, it's a 23.
He takes a second to think about it before finally saying, well, my dance card was filled by Lady Crowin, but perhaps I can spare a dance for you, Lady Vaydark.
How lovely. All right, later on in the night then. You ought to go check on Lady Crowin. I hope I didn't upset her with my presence. I know she's prone to listening and believing unsavory things. Bit gullible, that one.
Your words, not mine. And he sets for the door.
Excuse me, I'm gonna haul ass over to Clay. Clay, floor fauna.
As you are approaching, which is now becoming my favorite line from this session, a servant nearly trips into you and says, hello, ma'am, spicy salmon on crostini.
Yes, obviously. I scoop one up and I shove it in my mouth and keep walking.
It is not spicy. It is smoked. I am dyslexic, but it's pretty good. And you cross the room and reach Clay.
Oh, Florifana, you should try one of those. Do they have those in the servants' quarters? It was good as hell. Not the point. The point is, bathroom, now. And I'm going to haul ass into the powder room and expect that Clay is following me.
Okay, I'm like keeping up with you.
Okay, cool.
Also, who was that you were talking with?
That's okay. I have like a conspiracy. Not now, in the bathroom.
Okay.
Zach, is there any barrier to us locking ourselves away in the powder room under the guise of fixing me up?
There's no barrier, physical, moral, metaphorical. But as you enter the powder room, you see that
Is there a queue?
there's not a queue. There is the Marquioness Ren Pular, who is a halfling woman. She is standing at the mirror and smoking a cigarette, just staring at herself intently.
Lady Pular,
No.
Oh, are you alright?
Oh, just smoking the cigarette.
You seem frazzled. What's wrong?
Oh no, I'm just. It's so much fun. You know, who can contain themselves with so much revelry?
You know, they just brought out the smoked salmon crostinis, and they're delectable, but they're going like smoked salmon crostinis. They're just flying off the platter.
Now I heard that they were spicy.
Do you like spicy?
I cannot stand it.
It's very mild, in my opinion. I'm just gonna stand there with Clay until she feels awkward enough to leave.
So about 15 minutes later, she taps out the rest of her cigarette and says, "Now perhaps I go find the spicy smoked salmon pasquini. Yes."
You're not going to follow up on that?
And she walks out the door.
She's obviously something's up.
Sometimes Zach just throws little freaks in the world. I don't know.
She's just enjoying a cigarette.
Missed connection, I guess. Clay,
Yes.
do you have my nose powder?
Yeah, I take it out.
That's not cocaine! Smack it out of her hand. Okay, so a few things. I really wish you had my cocaine because...
I have black leaf.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, maybe. Oh my god, we should drug him.
Okay, so a guy that I blackmailed into oblivion is here. And he obviously, the last letter he sent me was something along the lines of like, I'm gonna freaking kill you, bitch.
Oh.
So he's here, and I'm not excited to see him. And I don't know what to do, but then Lord Rothbard just lied about being in the Copper District, and he has a bruise on his face, and I'm thinking he did violence in the Copper District, but I don't know how to press him on it without seeming insane.
That's what I was wondering. Because you mentioned before, I think, that who was it that saw like a large man around the clubhouse where my friends died?
Who was it? It was the
rats?
Ratman. The Ratman told us.
Yeah. Do you think that person might be here tonight?
I think it might be him. Listen, I think there might be some kind of ungodly menage a cinq, that's 5 in French, going on between Xerxes, Bip Bap, this guy, and then Lady Crowin, because they're all close, and they're all, except Lady Crowin, who just sucks and says mean, hurtful things about me that are true, regardless. I think they're all perhaps in on something, and they're all like different branches of this conspiracy to get rid of the princess. But anyway, I can't even focus on that. My judgment is crazy because Lord Pilton is here, and I don't want to be alone with him.
Okay, you won't be alone. Can I stick with you?
Like, not without us looking weird, but I was going to propose that you knock out the Birdman and you steal his clothes.
But I don't look like a bird.
But the Prelmies change servants so often, who would even know?
Just really clearly not a bird person.
Oh, but if the guy who murdered my friends is here, do you think they would recognize me?
Oh. Oh, are you saying, what are you saying?
I don't know. I was just curious. I don't know.
So theoretically, our best guess is that who might have killed your friend, if he's here, he might be Lord... Why can't I remember his name? Bradford Rothbard. Lord Rothbard. Or I thought it might be Lord Elling Malforth because he was there and he presumably ran through with his sword Welfin Moonderrick.
Yeah, who are Riggs' colleagues.
Okay, so you want to present yourself in front of them and see if they have any... Oh, we've got to use you as bait. I'm sorry, Clay. We've got to use you as bait.
If they are here, they're the ones who killed my friends. I need to, get revenge.
Oh my gosh, here? Here? I'm not there. Oh god.
What do you think of this? Number 1, I'm going to pretend to have a runny nose, and it's perfectly understandable for you to stand beside me and hand me tissues all night, because that's what a servant would do. Or you can stand with me and smoke for me. Something menial. But the second thing we're going to do is I'm going to stand in front of both men and loudly announce that you are going to do something isolated in the garden in some 1 hour's time. And should either of them exit the ballroom and head to the garden, we might know that one of them is the one that's after you. Am I literally like the smartest person in the world? I honestly think I should be like running this city.
I also heard some crazy rumors that there's a haunted maze in the garden here.
Oh, that sounds fun. Do you want to do that later?
No, focus. We could lure the men to the... Oh, it's perfect! Clay! You're the second smartest bitch in town! Okay. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to stay with me so that everybody gets a good look at you. I am going to shoehorn, subtly and elegantly as I shoehorn everything, in front of the two gentlemen, that we are going to check out the maze in some 1 hour's time after all the dancing. And then you are going to excuse yourself closer to that time, but don't take your eyes off me because Lord Hamlet is going to kill me. You're going to excuse yourself, make yourself hidden, and we will observe who sneaks out to the garden. It's perfect. Do you see any flaws?
Okay, let's do that.
It's a good plan, right? You can say it's a good plan.
Yeah. I'm following.
Yeah, but is it a good plan?
Yeah.
So it's a good plan then.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to do the plan. What kind of plan is it?
I think it's a good plan.
Yes! Okay, that's better than cocaine. That was literally better than cocaine. Should we do Glimki in? He's probably having fun, right? Talking about azaleas. Finding out who's been pissing on them, because obviously someone's pissing on those flowers, right? Anyone could tell. Anyone with half a brain could tell.
It looked to me like he was making good progress talking with the servants, but we could probably call him out to the garden later for gardening purposes.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, wait, I changed my mind. Maybe you should go back and talk to... No, I don't know. I just don't want to... I don't know. What's the best use of you and your skills?
I want to see if any one of these rich people recognize me and if they're the ones who killed my friends.
Okay. And it's my solemn promise that once we get the guy who killed your friends alone, you can beat the hell out of him, and I will take pictures. I'll do little sketches. I'll wave a little banner and go woohoo, okay? It's all yours.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You're so welcome, Claire. You're so welcome. Next time, bring the cocaine, though. That was so stupid. Okay.
We have 2/3 of a dose of black leaf with us.
Yeah, but I don't want to mess up my teeth.
That's fair.
Back to the ballroom. And I am going to walk right up to Elling Malforth with Clay in tow.
Well, two things.
Oh my god. Let me walk somewhere unimpeded, man.
You walk through the doorway out of the powder room and trip over a servant, and they stand up and say, "Stuffed meatball!"
Okay, what's going on here? What's going on with these servants? What's the deal?
good at their job.
Was he crouched outside of the door?
No, it's just short.
Okay. Yes, of course I want a meatball. And I'm going to take 2 meatballs and I'm going to eat them both. And then keep walking.
So that's as you cross out of the room, that happens. As you get halfway through, I say you're approaching Elling Malforth. You see him there. He has drifted away from BAP and is talking with the hairy man who is introduced as Count Bozic. And as you are approaching them, you hear, now presenting the guest of honor, famed actor and comedian, Garfield.
What?
And you look at the entry hall, and there is a orange tabaxi with a... he's dressed in all black. He's got a turtleneck, and he's wearing sunglasses, and he walks down the stairs and says, I hope they're serving lasagna. And the crowd goes wild.
God.
The servants who have been the air of professionality the entire evening are freaking out. Many of the guests are immediately swarming him. It's going to be a good night.
Oh my God.
Is Prince Malforth of those swarming him?
He does not swarm, but he chuckles appreciatively. He's like, I thought I'd seen everything.
That's yet another voice, but I like this one.
We're zeroing in.
Prince Malforth, please, I'm so sorry for my hasty exit. I realized that my nose was a bit runny, and I had to summon my servant person.
I hand a tissue over to Faunalyn.
Perfect. I dab so beatifically and hand the Kleenex back to Clay.
Yeah.
How exciting that Garfield is here. I'm so glad the party wasn't hosted on a Monday.
Quite right. He hates them, and his cousin Normal, I've heard. Contract dispute.
There's nothing normal about that silly Normal, am I right?
He looks past you and takes in Clay, who is just looming there, I take it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, holding a handful of tissues.
Yeah, he takes you in and then directs his attention back to you, Faunalyn.
Can I do an insight check for, like, recognition, anything?
Sure, give me an insight roll.
Yeah, I want to do the same.
Sure, both of you.
Oh, that's a 21 for me.
Oh, would you believe I also got a 21 again?
Woof! He looks at you, Clay, and he is evaluating you. You don't necessarily see a true glimpse of recognition, but he seems to be pondering you and your presence. And this is the kind of role that when you first entered the Faunalyn and Co. group, Elling tilted his head ever so slightly as you walked in the door. And in this moment, both of you can't help but wonder if he wasn't really looking at Faunalyn so much as he was looking at Clay.
I have chills right now, you guys.
It's him!
It might be him. I have chills! Do you know Prince Malforth? You never did tell me what you were doing at the Drifting Terraces that night.
Ah, yes. Well, when in Erdenine, one must see the Drifting Terraces. It is truly one of the wonders of our world.
Yes, but it was very late. Is that your preferred sightseeing time? Midnight?
Depends on the site. I suppose you were there yourself, I might add.
Oh, well, I had been called on illicit business.
Yes. My business was purely illicit, I assure you.
Insight check. That's another 21.
Holy shit.
Wait, this is the guy who is courting the princess?
Yep, from Onos, the Prince of Onos.
Okay. But he's involved in their kidnapping?
Maybe. Or in killing the people who kidnapped her, covering it up. Him and Electra might have a thing. I don't know.
Murder on the Orient Express style, the entire ballroom turns to look at you and starts rubbing their hands together.
Everyone in the party kidnapped the princess.
That's how it's feeling right now.
Yeah.
This place is crazy.
He is charming. He is good with his words. He is good at deflecting. And you don't know if he's being genuine, you don't know if he's deflecting. What you do know is a servant approaches you and says, "Now, would you care for a mushroom tart, ma'am? They're quite delectable, I assure you."
Okay, fine, thank you.
And Ling says, "Oh, quite right, thank you." And downs a mushroom tart as well.
That one actually wasn't as tasty as the others, I don't think.
In truth, you've caught me in a bit of a... Well, not a lie, but... You see, I was intending on a rendezvous of sorts, but... Alas, I was... stood up.
The rendezvous with the princess.
Indeed. I had requested her presence in the Drifting Terraces for a moonlit stroll. I thought it would be most romantic, and at the appointed hour she did not show, and now I cannot think, or help but think, what might have waylaid her.
Well, she was kidnapped, so probably a kidnapping. Did you just sniff? Clay. Tissue for the man.
Of course, ma'am. I hand a tissue over.
He accepts the tissue and dabs at each eye gently.
I apologize. I didn't mean to bring up such a sensitive matter.
I had hoped to wed the princess, and now I just fear for her safety.
Yes, well, it seems you have some personal attachment beyond the fact that such a union would be beneficial for both of your nations.
Indeed.
Nothing wrong with a political match, but a love match is best of all.
I assure you, Lady Vaydark, the love I have for the princess is genuine, and any additional political or economic benefits are purely happenstance. Might I ask a personal question?
Of course.
Your Minotaur, how long have they been in your employ?
Do you know, I brought them on for a bit of extra muscle after the attempt was made on my life, because according to their qualifications, they're not only skilled in many areas, including first aid, but also pretty beefy. So I never knew it would...
Beefy!
Yes, I'm very funny. Why do you ask?
If you get tired, and he's talking past you, if you get tired of insensitive jokes based upon your race, then perhaps you might consider a position with me. I think you would make an excellent addition to my staff.
Prince Malford, I respect that you're royalty, but not even your station.
Excuse me, I am speaking to your help.
Excuse me?
Okay, well then say something worthy of the slight that you've just committed against me. Go on, we're all listening.
Would you care to join the employ of the Crown Prince of Onos, my dear? I would be most pleased to have you join my staff. I promise we can double, nay triple, whatever she is paying you.
Why do you have need for more staff at this time?
There is always need for good help, my dear, and I get the sense that you are hardworking, trustworthy, and reliable. Traits I look for above all else.
We gotta insight check all this shit.
Sure, go for it.
That's a dirty
Have we
20.
considered that he just has a crush on you?
He called me a minotaur, though.
Now, in his defense, Minotaurs are a race of cow people, and Clay is a cow person.
Has he not seen a tiefling before, though? Like, I feel like that's more
There's not a
common.
lot of tieflings that look like you. You are not the blueprint of a tiefling, my friend.
Are minotaurs more well known?
You are a humanoid cow person. I think he's within his right to make that assumption.
Okay.
But I think as he says that, Clay, I think it's kind of nice if Clay has never thought, oh, maybe? Because tieflings are the result of a mix of infernal ancestry in one's bloodline. You've seen tieflings in Erdene.
Mm-hmm.
You've never seen one like you. And if there happened to be Minotaur also in your DNA, that would go a long way to explaining your appearance.
I guess internally she's like, oh, maybe, but she's completely uninterested in finding out more about her ancestry, so...
Well, why don't the two of you get to know each other better and find out more about this very intriguing proposition? I'm going to go talk to people who want to speak to me. And perhaps, Flora Fauna, in an hour, we can meet in the gardens as we had discussed.
Sounds good, my lady.
Dick. And I walk off. I shoulder bump Clay. I'm going to walk over to Lord Rothbard.
back to Rothbard, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Clay, you are left alone with the Prince Elling Malfirth, and he repeats himself once more and says,
Nobles. Difficult to...
So, what say you?
I'm
Join my staff, we can depart for Onos once my work in the city is concluded.
I'm currently employed. I'm not looking to leave my current position, but thank you. Yeah, you were kind of rude to Lady Faunalyn just now. Is that okay?
I am the Crown Prince of Onos. It is okay.
So I heard your conversation with her about Princess Galtries. Are you planning to head back to Onos so soon?
Once the princess is found, then it is my hope that there will be a royal wedding, and then we shall depart for Onos after that.
And what kind of steps are being taken to find the princess right now? You surely must be very involved.
Indeed, I headed an expedition into the lands south of here, but a few days ago in search of the princess, and we found a shambling mound and slew it, but unfortunately, well, I suppose fortunately, we did not find the princess's remains contained within the creature. But unfortunately, we did not find evidence that the princess had been there in the first place. So, perhaps in a day or two I shall set out again and continue my search. I will not rest until I find the princess.
I see. Well, yeah, I find myself very invested in the safe return of the princess as well, so,
Then all the more reason to join my side.
But I
Is
believe...
Lady Vaydark as worried as I am? Does she support your ambitions to find her?
I believe so, and I think it's probably best, to have multiple people searching with multiple resources.
You refuse me.
Yeah, I'm
Then you are dismissed. And he turns away.
okay. What do? I guess I go find Lady Faunalyn again.
Okay. So, as you are moving towards her, a door that was previously closed opens up, and you hear a hoo, 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 hoo. The door swings open, and you see this hulking creature, clad in feathers, walking on all fours. It has just this burly body of a bear and this enlarged head of an owl. It's wearing a spiked collar, and at the bottom of the collar is a little tag that says Gus, and you hear Bip say, "Gus, how good of you to join us." And you watch as the owlbear walks over to the nearest servant and just knocks the tray of what's left on our entree list. The marinated olives with cheese and tomato are knocked off the tray, and the owlbear just starts licking them up off the ground. And we will cut back to the servants' lounge with Glimki.
Nice.
I will say, in the time that you have been chatting and kind of moseying around, maybe grabbing a drink, maybe some food, there have been some additions to the servants in this room.
Okay.
And kind of coinciding with each of the, not each of, but many of the guests that have arrived downstairs, there has been a few additional servants that have arrived. There is a dwarf woman, if you recall, dwarf orc hybrid, with these tusks that protrude, and you see that they have silver tips. She arrived not so long ago, as well as another human woman who is this heavily tattooed individual wearing these silk gray robes with little red and gold accents.
Okay, I haven't snagged their names or anything in that time, or...
No, they just kind of entered the room, and a few of them
Okay.
have started mingling, and fewer eating food. And
Nice. I think in that time, Glimki would like to take Xander Lorne's advice and go find if I'm able to sneak out to look for the garage or something. What did he say? Like the carriage storage area?
the parkade.
Parkade, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I will say you exit the room. We'll say you're unbothered, I think, at this time.
Okay.
You walk downstairs and you previously passed a kitchen where there was the sound of cawing birds. The kitchen has not fallen silent, but there is noticeably no more cawing, but there's still a heavy bustle of people running about.
Fresh ceviche.
You hear a voice from this kitchen area say, "All right, people, it's almost dinner time, so let's get that first course ready to go. Ready to go? Okay, perfect." And you wander around for a little while unimpeded until you eventually find a door that leads out into the estate.
Nice.
You are outside. It's this partially cloudy night. The light of the two moons flickers and filters down through the clouds, and you are standing on a terrace of sorts. This courtyard that winds around the entirety of the manor, and you look around. Based off where you are, you see a path leading off into the estate nearby, and I'd say like you look to the left and you see that path leading away into the deeper part of the estate, and to your right you see the terrace that you're on wraps around back towards the main door that you first entered into the manor. And you see that there's that courtyard beneath it with the fountains and the drift globes and all that. And there are these drift globes on this terrace slowly floating around, casting light in different shades of yellow and orange and purple, just nicely illuminating the space.
Cool. I can't see where. I guess what's my best inclination for the parkade? It's not following the paths, so I guess wrapping around, I guess.
I would say, based off what you saw, is you pulled up at the front of this courtyard.
Mm-hmm.
Colston, the carriage driver, said he would be back at the end of the night to pick you up, and you watched as the carriage wrapped around and did not leave through the same path that you had ridden in on. He took the secondary path that seemed to wind off further into the estate.
Oh, okay. I can get down from this terrace?
Yeah, it's like its main floor. It just wraps around the entire
got it.
mansion.
Sorry. For some reason, I was picturing it like a wraparound kind of balcony thing.
Now,
okay.
Here's the thing. I looked up a very helpful difference chart, which showed a veranda, a balcony, a terrace, and a something else. And that's how I know that this is a terrace.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, okay. Let's try follow that path deeper into the estate.
Sure.
Or do I see anybody? Can I do a perception check, I guess? Just let me see.
Please do.
I got a 13.
13. You look around. It's decently illuminated, as I said. It seems like, as of right now, the activity is focused on the interior of the mansion. It is a still night. In the distance, you hear the occasional hoot, but you don't really see anybody else around you.
Right. Okay. So I would assume that there's owlbears somewhere in these woods.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Stay quiet. Let's head down this path.
So yeah, you walk down the stairs, past these stone owlbear statues, past the fountain and the statues of the satyrs, until you are back on the main path, and you follow it for a few minutes until you hear voices off a little ways in the dark. You continue along this path, and you see a collection of horses and carriages scattered around, and you notice that the carriages are kind of formed up into a circle. Mm-hmm. Not a perfect one, but there seems to be a circle, and you know this because you can see light flickering through the gaps in the horse and the carriage, and it seems like the voices are all coming from within that inner circle of carriage.
Nice, okay. Can I do another perception just to see if I can make anything out? Am I close enough to hear what they're saying or doing, or?
Sure. Give me one more perception.
Not much better. 12.
You hear the occasional word. You hear things like, race. I'll call.
Okay.
And you get the sense that there's some sort of card game going on.
Nice. Okay. Can I walk up still in the shadows? I just want to get, can I get a glimpse of who's around there. Is our carriage driver there?
From where you are currently, you can't see anybody. But
Okay, yeah, I'll get closer.
Are you sneaking or just walking?
I can try, but I have disadvantage.
You don't, if you recall, because you are currently wearing your servant's outfit.
Oh, right. Whoa, nice. 7.
It always gets me. It never fails to get me. You start creeping forward, and as you approach, one of the horses goes,
Classic.
and you hear a familiar voice say, I think someone's sneaking around out there. And poking his head out beneath the legs of the horses, you see Kalston Faddle. He says, Oh, it's you. Don't you have work to do?
They gave me a break. Clay's got it. Florafauna's got it covered.
Pseudonyms are not going well for us today.
Yeah, I didn't use it once.
All right, well, off you go then.
You guys gambling back here?
Yep, and you're not invited, so off you go. Friends only.
Oh, that's crazy. I guess you guys don't want none of this, really valuable gold that I have. Just sitting in my pocket, waiting to be snatched up by really talented card players.
Give me a persuasion roll.
Damn it, 14.
Buy-ins 2.
It seems low.
You're not impressing anyone. I hope you know that.
Okay, thank God, because that's all I have.
But he turns away, and I think that's the closest you get to an invitation to join the group.
Perfect. So, all right. And I dropped the only 2 coins I have.
You follow Kalston into the inner circle of the carriages, and you see that there is a little fire that has been put together, and you see that there are 5 other people. There is a human man wearing a blue-collared shirt. He's tall and he's thin. He's got messy brown hair. There's, of course, Kalston Faddle, the carriage driver for the Vaydarks, the Bertholds. There is a hobgoblin man who is pretty short and pretty muscular. He seems a little older, but he's still very muscular. He's got dark orange skin and buzzed black hair. And as he turns to face you, you see there's the firelight reflects off his face, and you see this large scar running from his ear all the way across his throat.
Damn.
There is a half-elf woman who's a little older. She's short with really long hair that's kind of pulled into a braid that's somewhat coiled on her lap. And there is another human man who's looks to be in his 60s. He's got wavy gray hair and a full beard, and he just looks a little lanky. The man with the collared shirt says, Well, gee, Kalston, who'd you bring in to join the group? Calm down, John Arbuckle. This is the shithead that I work with. His name's Reggie or something.
Reginald Chapstick, and I do a half curtsy.
Oh, hey there, I'm John Arbuckle. I'm the carriage driver for Garfield, the famous comedian. You might know him. Oh, I know. It's no big deal.
Garfield's here?
He is here, yeah. I mean, hey, between you and me, I wouldn't get too excited. He's super depressed. Not at his best right now.
Oh, damn. Well, hopefully the party cheers him up.
Hopefully, but I doubt it. Maybe if they're serving lasagna.
You're awfully optimistic.
Anyway, this is Marcus, and he points at the hobgoblin. That's Kalston, of course, you know him. That's Uwende, and he points at the half-elf. And that's Mindaugus Tuco, and he points at the older human man.
Oh, well, pleasure to meet you. And thanks for letting me join in for a hand here. Or hopefully more if I make it out of this one,
Are you planning on going all in the first hand?
Fingers crossed. Luck is really up to the cards here. So let's see what you guys got.
And they sit you down and they deal a hand. We're going to use cards as a backdrop for conversation. Mm-hmm. And maybe you'll make some money. Maybe you'll lose some money. We'll find out.
Perfect.
But how are you steering the conversation?
Oh, I have a very specific way to steer this. and it has to do entirely with the cards.
Very good.
I don't know what the game is. You can make it simple, but I'm gonna let's play the hand out with 2 coins. Let's see what happens.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Give me a deception check to start as you playing your cards, doing a little bluffing.
Okay, I got a 15.
Nice. You take your cards. I don't know. You're hinting that maybe you got something a little better than you do. What happens is a couple people fold. Colston folds immediately, and John Arbuckle folds. We'll say as you are playing your cards, a couple people drop out or fold, a couple people raise and go in. I'll say by the end of it, you're in for a gold. And it is you and the half-elf woman Uende and the hobgoblin with the scar. You bluff your way out of a bad situation, forcing them to fold.
Do they both fold?
They both fold.
Okay. I get my gold, so I'm up 1. Okay. I look at my pile of 3 now, and I look around. What does everybody else's piles look like?
John Arbuckle has 2 copper pieces left. The hobgoblin Marcus he's at like an even 2. Colston down to 1 gold. The half-elf woman Uende, she's got 4. And you see the last guy, the older human, has 2 gold and 5 silver.
Okay. So I look around the circle and be like, well, it looks like we're all a little sparse for piles here. Somebody's a little ahead. I don't have the biggest amount here. I had another suggestion. Just hear me out if you guys are into it. I know we all work for pretty significant houses. I'm new to this whole thing, and I'm looking to know all the houses and which ones are the ones you prefer to work for. I'm with the Bertholds, you're with Pralmies. Everyone's representing somebody. A good way to get to know one another is through stories. So I was maybe suggesting that instead of betting coin, we could bet a secret, and you could call based on, I don't know, I could give you the lead into the story, and if you think it's worth it or you're interested, give me 1 back. And then whoever wins, or I guess whoever loses or folds, has to share their info. I could start if you're interested.
Give me a persuasion roll.
13.
John Arbuckle says, well, geez, that sounds like a pretty great idea to me. Seems like it'd be a really fun way to get to know each other a little better and find out more about the people that keep us fed. Colston immediately shakes his head and says, no, I'm here for gambling, not for story time. I want coin.
Okay, well...
The half-elf woman says, it could be interesting to hear some more. The hobgoblin slams his fist on the table and shakes his head. And the older man says, it could be interesting to hear what each other has to say.
I don't want to force your hands in any way, but maybe I could just give you the lead-in, and then you can decide if you want to play.
I believe majority rules. At this, the hobgoblin tosses his cards that he was holding, grabs up his coin, and storms off. But everybody else stays, and John Arbuckle says, okay then, well, don't worry about Marcus. He's just a little mad, but I'd love to hear your stories. So what you got?
Okay, well, I'll give you the hint, and if you gotta have to, it's like a trust system here. You gotta think that it's worth the same amount. And here, I'll give you the example. I don't know, some of our employers have certain needs. A little birdie told me a certain doctor that has access to a certain black leaf, if you catch my drift. Could be some valuable information that could make some of your employers very happy.
There is a couple of people, the half-elf woman and John Arbuckle,
They react kind of like a kid from Christian school does when you say a curse word. They're like, oh, yeah, that's crazy. Colston actively dissociates every time you're speaking. And the older man, he kind of shrugs, but doesn't disagree or doesn't, detest what you have said.
Well, it's up to you guys. If you think you got a story to call, give me the little lead in and we'll see.
Fine, let's try it your way. And if we find it to be insufficient for entertainment for this evening, then we'll go back to the original.
Yeah, by all means.
So why don't we have a roll-off?
Mm-hmm.
I am going to roll for everybody, and I'm going to have you roll a d20.
Okay. Oh, God. I got a 15.
Okay. I will say that Colston folds immediately. John Arbuckle, he seems happy with his hand. Uwende, she shrugs and decides to stay in. And the last guy, Mendaugus, he tosses his cards, he folds, and says, patience, patience. Something about the way he says that feels familiar, but the game continues. And I'm going to need another d20 roll, we'll call it another deception roll. Mm-hmm.
Another 15.
Uwende is staring at you, and she's like trying to read you and having a hard time. John Arbuckle says, I don't know if I understand the rules of this game exactly, but I'll stay in. And you show cards, and you beat the two of them. And John says, well, okay, I don't have much to say. Garfield spends hours staring into the mirror, obsessing over his fading stardom and aging body. Every day, he's down real bad. He even bought a boat recently. It's not going well for him.
Wow.
And Uwende says, my lady, Lady Isle Crowin is obsessed with one Lord Ulrin Rothbard, but she is aware that the host of this evening, the Lady Bakra Premi, is trying to steal him away. She pauses for a second and says, I don't care for Ulrin Rothbard. He's a ruffian. He's often covered in injuries, and I do not think he is savory. The old man, Mendaugus, speaks up again and says, I prefer the old game with coin. It's better that way. Mm-hmm. And as he continues to speak, you're like looking at him and you're like, you recognize his voice. He sounds familiar, but you don't think you've met him.
What?
And then it clicks for you. You heard him on a recording by a Kenku.
Oh, damn.
Shit.
Oh my god.
And we'll cut back to the inside.
Oh my god, the cliffhangers.
So, Faunalyn, you were talking once more to Ulrin.
I forgot that I had asked him for a dance, which I believe I had done.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I want to go talk to Electra Voon instead.
Okay. As you approach, a servant says, would you care for? And then he looks at his tray and realizes it's empty and says, never mind, sorry for disturbing you, and keeps on his way.
I wanted to try those.
Clay, what are you doing? Are you tailing Faunalyn still, or are you returning? I will say people are staring. Not like actively, but you know that you are inconspicuous at the best of times. And like the host, Lord and Lady Prailme, Bip and Bap, they're kind of looking at you like, why is Vaydark's servant hanging out? But what are you doing? Are you continuing to tail her?
I guess if people are giving me weird looks, I'll just go back to the servants' room or the servants' wing.
You rat bastard! Not the only rat in this establishment tonight!
Okay, wait, I'm dressed kind of like a servant, right?
You're dressed as a servant in very nice servanty clothes.
But why are they all giving me weird looks? I grab one of the empty trays and start walking around.
Because you're not supposed to be out, right? Like, that was like the agreement. You're supposed to
Yes.
only come to attend a request or something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's why they're giving you weird looks.
Okay, I'll go back to Faunalyn then.
Good, I needed my Kleenex. Achoo.
So, Faunalyn, you approach Electravoom, and Clotilde is standing next to her, and they are talking to Count Telendir Vrump. And as you're approaching, you catch the tail end of Vrump's last sentence, which is,
And she's so old, but she looks so young.
I walk up and I give Electra like an up and down. And then I say, Electra, Sir Clotilde, a word, if I may. And I flounce off and trust that he's following.
Vrump says,
Well, that happened.
and you cross the dance floor, and you turn around, and Clotilde walks up to you, and he says,
My lady, it is good to see you again. I hope you are doing well.
Yes, you and I should have a dance. Don't you agree?
I was thinking the same thing.
Very good. Very, very good. So, sign the card.
Seems like third dance might be in order.
A third dance it is, yes. I was actually hoping that I could have signed... Who's the last guy that I just asked for a dance? Rothbard. I was hoping to save him for the end of the night, but second is fine.
up to you. No, you can order it however you want.
Second is fine. Yeah, second is fine.
Okay. Clotilde, yes, signs the card, and you hear a sudden scream as one of the servants is climbing a pole, like one of the pillars, as Gus is clawing at it, going, hoo, hoo, trying to get at the tray she's holding. And
Kedar says, I think it'll be good for us to converse. There's much I wish to discuss.
Yes, you seem rather close with Lady Voon.
That was your instruction.
Good lad. Oh, I look at Clay and I say, I do so love it when my help is cooperative.
I hand over tissue.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh my god. Who's not at this party?
our guests have all arrived. And now it is time for the dining hour.
if you may proceed, and a bunch of servants open up this set of doors at the back of the room.
Into the dining hall, you will find your assigned seats, and we shall begin with our most excellent dinner.
Ooh, ceviche time! Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. I'm going to make my way through the crowd as we all work our way into the dining hall up to Electra, and I'm going to close my dance fan and kind of stop her with it and say, sign it or don't, I don't care, but I think we have things to discuss, don't you?
Damn.
I think I'm good.
Oh, I guess you're not interested in the conversation I had with Prince Malfirth. Okay, fair enough. I'm going to boof my fan open and flounce away.
Okay.
Damn it. I gotta find the right string to pull. One day, Faunalyn's gonna say something and something cool will happen and she'll stop looking like such a boob all the time. One day!
I thought you were doing good with Rothbard.
I got nothing from him. He's wearing concealer. His contour's blockier than mine.
He's a noble with a black eye. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting.
I mean, I didn't get that from him. I passively observed it. But yeah, thanks, guys.
You know he's lying about something, maybe.
Yeah.
Fight Club.
Royal Fight Club?
Oh, shoot.
That would be kind of sick.
Clay, are you continuing to follow?
I guess no one's like told me to go back to the servants' room.
Funny
right?
you should mention that. As you are entering the dining hall, the Aarakocra kind of steps in front of you and says,
Perhaps you would be more comfortable in the servants' lounge. I assure you our staff are more than capable of taking care of the Lady Vaydark.
No, she has personal needs of me. I don't think I can leave her alone right now.
give me a persuasion roll.
Ooh, 17.
If you insist.
Yeah, people are out to kill her. I better stick close with her.
I assure you she is most safe here, but as you wish.
Well, people have tried to kill her before.
He steps aside and you find yourselves in a large dining room. It's a banquet hall. You see that there's this large table carved from a single piece of deep red wood, and
It looks like it is large enough to comfortably seat 20 or more. There is a large set of windows along the rear wall that overlook the rear of the Prailme estate, which you can see is heavily wooded. You see moonlight flickering through the tree branches, and you are, Faunalyn, you look around and you are presented with your seat. You are second from the end, one of the ends. Bip sits down at the end, Bap sits down at the other end, and you are second down from Bip. And you are seated between Xerxes and Earl Asfull of Crestix. And across from you, you see there is Claudine Balal, her caretaker Lorraine, and next to Lorraine is Lady Larastra Gamonche.
Lady Larastra of Bugbear fame.
Yes.
Okay, what an exciting lineup. Clay, what are you doing in relation to me? Are you like hovering behind me? Like, what's the game plan here?
I think I'm standing at the edge of the room just watching.
Okay, that's good. That's polite. Where's Lord Hamlet in the room?
He is near the center of the table. He's on the opposite side from you, and he is kind of near the middle of the table.
Okay.
Seated between Count Bozic and Count Telendir Vrump.
On our way in, could I have kind of pointed him out to Clay?
Give me a sleight of hand.
15 plus 5 is dirty 20.
Okay. Yep. Clay, you are tapped, and this older looking man is pointed out to you.
Okay.
That's all.
Can I do a perception check? Is anyone like paying particular attention to me or Faunalyn, I guess? Like, is the old man looking at her, or is anyone else recognize me?
Give me a perception roll.
13.
No one is specifically staring at you.
Mm-hmm.
You do occasionally catch a glimpse from both servant and the hosts alike. They are very clearly, I will say this, the hosts, if anyone, are kind of like, what is she doing here? Like, not on the payroll. They're not supposed to be here. And they kind of shoot questioning looks over at Tick, the Aarakocra. Other than that, no one really is paying much attention to you, as people are kind of hurrying in to get seated, grabbing their seats, getting ready for the first course, which is, of course, as everybody knows, a soup. A fish soup in this case. It is a nice red soup with different sea bass and red snapper and scallops, and it's very nicely seasoned. And that is the first course. And as people are digging in to this, the staff are bustling around. They're gliding past you, Clay, no issues. Electra Voon, who is 2 seats over from you, Faunalyn, she takes a sip of soup and says, Prince Malphith, it is so nice to see you. Has your witch mother burned down any cities recently? And he replies, the Cult of the Phoenix has no formal relations with the Church of Pharos, as I am sure you are aware, and Onos has made ample reparations for what transpired in Sunfall.
What transpired in Sunfall?
Do you want to ask, or do you want to make a history check?
No, I'm loudly asking.
Okay.
Well, is it like super public knowledge? Is it like me asking like who was the bad guy in World War II?
Make a history check for me.
Okay. Oh, no. That's a 5 plus a 0.
A 5 is what you needed.
Oh my god.
Because this is very public knowledge. The Divine Octad, the 8 primary gods of Zav, of which Makrog is one of them, are the primary source of worship in this world. They are what most people pray to, what most clerics are in service of, etc., what the majority of churches are erected for. You are also aware that, of course, there are nature spirits that reside in various places of the world that some folk choose to worship in their own way. An even smaller sect of individuals worship Pharos, the Sun Phoenix, as a deity. Onos, the nation to the west of here, from which Prince Elling Malfirth is from, is a country full of many astronomers
They often look to the stars. It is Onos itself that announces when summer, spring, fall, winter has begun. They announce the changing of the seasons because they monitor the progress of Pharos throughout the year. All that is background for what happened about 20 years ago when a group of religious fanatics, the cult of Pharos, attempted to use a modified summon elemental spell to pull Pharos from the sky.
Cool.
They did this while in the city that would later become known as Sunfall. Fire swept through the streets, thousands were killed, and the city was essentially burned to the ground. And it has been rebuilding for the last 2 decades, but much of the damage still remains, and evidently, much of the hurt and anger remains as well.
Faunalyn's gonna keep her damn mouth shut, and she's gonna listen to this interaction play out organically.
Tell that to the thousands burned in their homes, what your reparations mean to them.
And he starts to speak a little louder, says, Lady Voon, there is nothing more to be said on the... And Bap kind of speaks over him and says,
All right, well, why don't we just enjoy this delicious soup and leave politics out of the conversation?
Yes. On to lighter subjects. What an excellent idea. Who else here has had, this is so funny how we do this to each other. Who else here has had a servant poached by someone else at the table? And I put my finger on my nose. And I go, who? You? Anybody?
Larastra puts up her hand.
Who poached you, Larasta?
Well, no one poached me, but
Oh, your servant.
my servants were poached by Lady Crawin.
Naughty, Lady Crawin. I almost just had my servant stolen by somebody here at this table. Can anybody guess who? Everybody on the count of 3, point to the person who you think almost stole my servant. 1, 2, 3, go.
Give me a persuasion roll.
I'm being delightful. I should get advantage. 18.
Yeah, a few of the more detached members of the table, Lady Pular, Xerxes, Bip, gleefully are just like, all right, I guess we're doing this. And they start pointing fingers. A few people keep their hands down. Pilton is just kind of staring at you quietly.
While the commotion is happening and while people are having fun, pointing at other people and checking to see who everyone else is pointed at, Electra Voon is surely within arm's reach. I want to reach behind the chairs and try to finagle her fan off of her. Sleight of hand style. Her dance card fan.
Go for it. Sleight of hand.
Can I get advantage? Because I'm scared of what will happen if I fail.
You are in a room of 17 people plus staff. The only reason this isn't with disadvantage is because of this distraction you have caused.
Okay. That's a 19. And if the DC was 20, a pox be upon me.
Amongst the commotion, Voon and Malfirth have fallen sullenly silent. The majority of people are pointing. You reach over and you see the fan and you slide it gently off of Lady Electra Voon's person. As you do, you lock eyes with Lord Pilton, but the fan is yours. He definitely saw what you did, but does not say anything.
Cool. I'm going to discreetly... Who's on her dance card?
It is not entirely filled, but Count Telendir Vrump, the Marquianus Ren Pular, and Lord Bickford Prailme have all signed their names.
Awesome. I'm signing my name and writing her name on my own dance card to match. And I'm not going to bother like flipping it back on her. I'm just going to kind of drop it under the seats so that it kind of tumbles towards her a little bit closer.
Very good.
I wanted to dance. We're going to dance. Okay.
Apparently.
Okay. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I shall not be stood up.
Soup is finished. It is concluded. And we will cut back to Glimki, who is at the poker circle. You have just made a connection that the man with the gray hair and the beard sitting across the fire from you, you are fairly confident his voice is the one you heard in the Kenku recording.
So he's trying to go back to just regular coins.
Yes.
Okay. Well, those were some interesting stories. Unfortunately, you guys didn't get to hear about my plug. Thanks for playing. Did you guys enjoy that? Did you want to try one more? I'll offer up something juicy. But this time, I want to hear what everyone's risking up front. Or, and hear me out, we could do a different version. We could do whoever wins get to ask everyone whatever they want.
Give me a persuasion roll.
17.
There's a general consensus of like, the game's more fun with money, but maybe this new rule could be fun. The old man, though, he says,
As I stated, I believe the game is more enjoyable with coin. Furthermore, I believe it is unprofessional to tell tales about my employer.
It doesn't have to be about just employer. I mean, mine had nothing to do with employer. It's just something I know. Could help, could not.
I'm sorry. The prince trusts me. I am his confidant, and I will not be partaking further.
Okay, no, well, hold on. Before you run off, we can play with coin. I just want to get to know the people around it. How about this time, whoever wins, they just get to ask the people questions, but it has to be just about that person.
give me one last persuasion roll. Reeking of desperation.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's getting desperate. You're like, no, guys, it'll be fun. I promise.
I kid you not. Nat 20.
Oh.
Plus 4, 24.
He is halfway out of his seat and says,
Very well.
Did we want to ask the questions first or just after? Whoever wins, that's fine. Let's roll the dice.
Whoever wins.
Okay.
As it were, I believe this might be a better game for dice. It doesn't really translate well to a cards-based game.
Mm-hmm.
Let's roll.
and I think just for ease of just making a game happen, roll 2d6.
Okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I can do to turn things in my favor. Damn. Ooh. Okay. As I roll my dice, can I use minor illusion to create a sound by one of the horses to just spook it a little bit so it like rears up?
Now, minor illusion, of course, does have a verbal component. You are seated at a... Oh, it doesn't. Interesting.
Somatic.
It does have somatic. It does have a material component.
A bit of fleece? I gotta be wearing some fleece, right?
I will say, give me a sleight of hand check.
Okay.
To try and do this subtly. But yeah, you pluck out like a bit of material from your nice jacket.
Okay. I got a 14.
Okay. It seems like nobody sees it happen.
Okay. So, a sound. The horse ruffles its chains, gets a little uneasy. Do they look away? Or look at it?
Yeah, I'd say. The group temporarily glances over.
I rolled a 3 and a 5. I just want to change one dice.
Which dice?
I just want to roll the 3 again.
Oh, interesting. I will give you an option. If you take your 3, what are the 4 numbers that it is adjacent to?
I don't know. I don't have the physical dice.
Okay, we'll use my 3.
Okay.
It is adjacent to a 1, a 2, a 6, and a 5. And as I'm saying that, I realize that's every 3. That's just how dice work. So it is adjacent to a 1, a 2, a 5, and a 6. What do you flip the 3 to? You can flip it one spot.
Oh, so I can pick?
Yep. I'll say you quickly reach over and just tip it over 1
Okay, well, I'm flipping to a 6. I want a 6 and a 5.
for a total of 11. People roll, people show dice, and at the end of it, it is you and Mindaugus who both have 11s.
Well, one more for the victor. Single die.
Hey, I'm willing to split the pot. You ask me anything and I get to ask you anything. Again, for the sake of getting to know one another.
Fine.
Please, ask me anything.
The Lady Vaydark.
Oh no.
Is it true that you are in a sexual relationship?
Wow. It's really gotten around, hey? You know, I wish I could give you something more exciting. Unfortunately, no. she has taken a lover, but it's not me.
I was going to say make a persuasion roll, but now make a deception roll.
7.
Yeah, right. I bet it's definitely you, says John Arbuckle.
Come on, guys.
Fair's fair. What is your question?
You know, I've been trying to figure out what I might ask you, and I think it really boils down to, and can we just pause for a second? What was the date of the night that they were kidnapped? That was the night of Ojuary, the what?
The night of the princess's disappearance was the 13th of Zemfist.
13th of Zemfis. Yes, I've been racking my brain for a question that I might ask you. And, you know, as I was thinking, I started to get this sinking feeling that, you know, maybe you're not a complete stranger to me after all. My question is simple. What were you doing on the docks on the night of 13th of Zemfis?
Oh, wow.
There is a long pause before he finally says, I'm afraid you are mistaken. I was not at the docks that night.
Inside joke.
Go for it.
Like, I feel like I already know he's lying. I only got a 9, but...
Yeah, I mean, you are welcome to think what you think about his response. He does not convey too much. It's a little dark, even with the firelight, you know, you don't get perfect view of him. I'd say even with a 9, though, there is a sudden tension in the air that...
I mean, that pause spoke for itself, I think.
Yeah, that only the two of you maybe are fully aware of.
I'm just trying to think, like, do I press him? Or do I make him just nervous that I know?
Get him.
Damn. Yeah, this is tricky. I don't know.
Wait, whose servant is this guy again?
Hey, what's his name again? He serves who again?
I will say, this man's name, he's been identified to you as Mundagus Tuco, and because I don't think it was fully gronked at the time, as you were pressing for this version of the card game, the secret sharing, gossipy card game, as he was getting ready to stand up, he said...
He said print something.
Yes, that he is a confidant of the prince and would not be partaking, would not be sharing any gossip.
Of the prince.
Oh, shit. I actually, don't know what to do.
I know, right? We need all three of us in a room and just a brainstorm.
I kind of want to press him, but at the same time, maybe it's a power play.
Before you have a chance to decide,
shit,
he says, this has been fun, but I believe it's getting a bit nippy outside. And he stands up.
Wait. That's my mistake.
He walks away.
That question doesn't count. You guys saw that, right? He shafted me.
Totally shafted.
We cut to...
Tell your friends when Dangus Tuco shafted me.
We cut to the dining hall once more. And it's... What's that? We had soup? Now it's time for salad! Salad time! And the servants come bearing this massive platter with a salad that's just a tapestry of fruit and vegetables with these little clusters of flowers sprinkled throughout. And you're individually served just this lovely, hey, you can feel about the Promies how you want to feel about the Promies. But damn, their soup and salad is pretty good. And as you are sitting there, you begin eating your salad. There's a sudden scream from across the table as the owlbear Gus has started trying to climb onto Claudine, who is seated at the end of the table, and is trying to grab the salad off of her plate.
Well, it wouldn't have happened if I was her date, so... I would have put a stop to that.
And Bip says, Gus, stop it. Gus, stop it, Gus. Gus, bad. Go lie down. Bad. And Gus finishes eating all of Claudine's salad and then walks over to the corner and lies down, curls up and lies down. A minute later, A servant enters the room and walks to the end of the table and whispers in Elling's ear. And he says,
Excuse me, I will return shortly. Please do not delay eating any of the ceviche. I am most excited for it, but eat on without me.
and he exits the room.
I want to flag down Clay for a tissue.
Okay, I go up and bring a tissue.
I blow my nose. I hand the tissue back to Clay, and I use my eyes to gesture at the prince. And I jerk my head the tiniest of motions, and then adjust my wig as if I was just fixing it, but meant to imply something, perhaps.
Okay.
Okay, I eat some ceviche.
Is the prince leaving the room?
He has left the room.
Oh, I follow them.
I am going to need a stealth check from you.
Oh, that's such a bad idea. I've totally just sentenced Clay to death.
Okay, stealth it is. Do I have disadvantage? I'm also not wearing my armor, right?
No disadvantage. You just both have lower ACs for whatever may transpire here.
Yeah. Stealth. 13.
So you step out into the hall and you see that this dancing hall, the space is pretty quiet. Occasionally servants are coming and going with different plates, but you're kind of between courses at the moment, so it's a little more quiet. And you watch as Elling, you kind of just catch him as he's leaving out the main door. You see the door close and just a flash of his red and gold attire leaving.
I go after him.
We've done a bad thing.
Hmm.
Let the record show me pointing at the door. I'll own up to that. Anything Clay did once they were out of my sight, that's on Clay. Following the man into the darkness, that's on Clay.
Oh, God.
Okay, I follow at a distance. I have dark vision so I can see them.
Right. Yeah. You cross the reception hall, slip out the front door, and you look around, and you look to the left. There's no one there. You look to the right, and you see two figures walking away from you.
Who are they?
One of them is Prince Elling Malfirth. You can tell because the light of the drift globes that are swirling around are reflecting off the golden crown that he wears. And next to him is this older looking man. He's wearing simple clothes and a cloak, but he's got this full head of wavy gray hair, and they are conversing quietly as they walk.
Can I hear them?
Nope. You can see that they're talking, but they're talking very quietly.
Okay.
I'd say from this distance, you can't make anything out.
Where are they headed?
So the front of the Prima estate, you're at the main door. There's this large promenade, this veranda, if you will, that wraps around at least the front of the mansion. You don't know if it goes all the way around the back, but they are walking towards the west wing of the mansion. And I'd say as you watch, they walk around the corner, out of sight.
Okay. I, spy movie, glance around the corner, to keep following them.
Okay. You follow at a distance, hurrying as quickly as you can to keep them in sight. And you poke your head around the corner and you see that this terrace continues around the entire west flank of this mansion. But you see that there is a stairway that branches off, leading down into the estate. And you watch as the two of them are walking down that staircase. You continue to follow, and you see that the staircase leads to this path that branches. You see to the left there is a structure. It looks to be about 2 stories tall with a peaked roof. And to the right, there is a vast circular hedge maze, at the center of which is this derelict stone tower. It looks almost as dilapidated as Tildy's was, but much taller, ending in this peaked conical roof, and you see that there's a small window at the top, and you see a bit of light emanating from that window.
and it is at the center of this hedge maze.
Which way did the prince go?
The two of them walk down the path, and when it branches, they turn towards the hedge maze.
Ah, shit. How tall is this maze?
It's built for humans,
Oh.
so probably 7-8 feet.
If I follow them into the maze, will I get lost? Or can I keep sight of them and not get seen?
Only one way to find out.
Okay, I go after them.
Okay, I am going to need one more stealth check as you attempt to sneak up on them in the hedge maze.
11.
Okay.
That the Zachary's sigh there tells me that was a DC 12 check.
Oof.
You creep forward, rounding the corner, and you watch them enter the maze. You press forward, ever so quietly. As quietly as you've ever been. If you had been this quiet in the past, a lot of jobs with rigs probably would have been a lot easier. But you sneak into the maze, and you hear distant conversation. And you take a couple of turns, and you think you've managed to position yourself on the opposite side of one of the walls, on one of the hedges. You hear faint, hushed conversation between the two men.
Now, might I ask what is so important that you interrupted my dinner? I was about to enjoy a crow ceviche, which, as I'm sure you know, is a favorite of mine, and I have not been able to get a good one since leaving Onos. Apologies, my prince, but it would seem we have a problem. What do you mean, a problem? There is a gnome in the service of House Vaydark. He quite bluntly insinuated that I was at the docks the night of the disappearance. What do you mean insinuated? Did he see you? I am uncertain. He merely made his insinuation. This is most unfortunate. The Minotaur, the one we've been looking for, is in the service of House Vaydark as well. Fuck. What do you suggest we do, my prince? We are going to do nothing. You will go back and continue doing whatever you do during these events, and I will call in the butcher to finish the work he started. I don't know why he didn't stick around to finish them off when they had the chance, but we'll ensure this is put to rest and things can proceed as intended. Very good. And the two men walk away. You hear the sound of footsteps departing, disappearing into the night.
Ooh. The butcher?
Uh-oh.
Dang, okay.
But are we actually good at this, you guys?
I think so.
I think we might actually be good at this.
Okay, can I go back and ask Tick to tell Lady Faunalyn that she has business and to get her out the same way that Prince Elling was excused from dinner so that I can talk to her?
Give me a survival check as you attempt to navigate your way out of this maze.
Leave the
Ah,
maze.
shit.
Stuck in the maze forever.
Oh, shit, it's also haunted.
Yeah. Ooh, that's good. 18.
Ooh.
18.
Nice.
You slowly navigate your way out of the maze, eventually reaching the entrance. As you begin the journey back to the main doors of Prima Manor, you glance back at that tower, and in that window, with the light coming out of it, you see a shape. A shadow, vaguely humanoid, with two blazing eyes. And as quickly as you see it, it moves out of sight.
Whoa.
You continue
back to the front door. You let yourself back in, and you find the aristocratic. Tell him that you need to speak to Lady Faunalyn. Inside the dining hall, Bip stands up and says, "Now, my friends, it is wonderful for you to be here. I am very excited for you to enjoy the delicacy that we know you have all waited so long for, crow ceviche." And at that moment, Tick walks up to you, Faunalyn, and says, "You are required out in the reception hall."
The ceviche!
And you are escorted into the reception hall where Clay Campbell awaits you. And that's where we'll stop tonight's episode of Bard Soup.
What?
Wow.
Ooh, boy, that was something, wasn't it, folks? Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Bard's Soup. I have been your Dungeon Master, Zach Meikle, joined by my three dear friends, Prima Zhao as Clay Campbell, Jordan Johnsen as Glimki Treefellow, and Shannon Meikle as Faunalyn Vaydark. Look, there was a big gap between episodes. I know it, you know it. Does it help if I was working on something really cool with Jordan? Maybe. We'll tell you more about that in the weeks ahead. In the meantime, follow us at Bard_Soup on Instagram and TikTok, and we're so back. New episodes every 2 weeks. We will see you in 2 weeks with episode 13. Ooh, hope it's not unlucky. Okay, bye.
Guys, we actually did so well.
Yeah, we pulled on a lot of stuff there.
Oh my god, it's the Priz. Oh,
The prince
Yeah,
is involved
shit.
deeply. But then there's something
Dang.
like if the guy with the red eyes in the window was the butcher, why is he at the Pralmy estate? And what was the
I don't know
owl
who's
bear
the-
involved
I don't
with?
know
And
who's the-
humiliation seal.
Well, I feel like
don't-
the guy that was described as the owlbear is maybe the owlbear you saw, maybe? Or did you see an actual owlbear?
I just mean like the owl bear seal.
Oh, right.
I didn't.
yeah,
Like
I
the
didn't see
Pralmy's
an
involvement.
actual.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Right? It's very complex.
Because he's not part of that like group that with humiliation.
Right. Man.
The Prince.
But he must
Oh.
be working with them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because humiliation boat took it away and Pralmy crest.
Yeah. Helmy Crest is what I got when I did the kidnapping. And then someone sent a letter to Faunalyn with the humiliation house crest.
Mm.
That could
But it
be
wasn't signed.
unrelated.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Could be unrelated, but the prince was there when you went there.
Yeah. Yeah, he was there. Who's the butcher? And he's going to kill all of us, eh?
Right, yeah, probably.
That's fun.
Dang,
Wow.
yeah, that was cool.
Jordan, you inventing poker game rules on the fly was very fun.
Okay, yeah, that. As soon as they mentioned, I had a lot of time to think. When you mentioned the carriage thing, I was like, oh, I want to try
it's
this.
too bad that the humiliation house carriage driver was in the room and not at the thing.
Yeah,
Chunks.
yeah. Chunks, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We got I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, but they know that we know, which means it's about to all come out. Like if they're getting nervous, obviously we're in danger now. But
Yeah. I'm like, I don't even think my dance card matters at this point. I don't think I'm gonna be
We're
getting
gonna
any dances in.
leave.
yeah, we definitely need to meet up.
Ditching
Yeah.
this ball.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. So what are you? This woman that you're trying to get the dance with?
I'm just suspicious of her. I don't know.
I wonder if there's an angle to play there if we're able to link up and share some info that you could if we can check her off guilty or innocent, but just be like, hey, I know some shit, and they'd be like, what do you mean? And if you could be like, the prince is involved, she'd be like, the fuck? They could really just stir the whole. You could turn the houses.
Yeah, recruit her because she hates the prince, right?
Yeah. And my beef with her is literally just we don't get along. She
Yeah.
was really nice to me when we first started, and then I failed some roles to impress her,
Mm.
and so she just doesn't like me. And then ever since then, we've been
beat you to each other.
Mm.
Maybe there's something there.
Yeah, but I don't know because my Klatir Keldar, I tasked him with keeping tabs on her, and he obviously has. So
Oh,
I'm going
maybe
to
he
dance
has
with him
something.
first and get the dirt on her
Yes.
and find out what's
Mhm.
up, and then that can inform how I leverage things when I'm dancing
Nice.
with her. Y'all, we're
Nice.
actually geniuses.
Yeah, we're Liberty Gibbets.
Liberty gibbets.